Personal injury lawyer SEO is often seen as a really tough competitive niche. But I always say there's opportunities in every niche, not forgetting this is a very high value, high ticket niche, which means you've typically got more funds to actually compete in those spaces, and the payoff is probably going to be more worthwhile than a lower ticket product where you're basically investing the same resources to actually get those results, but your payoff could be much higher in the legal niche. So just as a very quick example, one of my AI case studies using mashed page generation has been lawyerslipandfallcase.com, and this was about 10 minutes work, simply using an automatic AI article writer with automatic AI images, and yet in just a matter of weeks, we're already ranking for 23 keywords and starting to get traffic with absolutely zero money down. If we have a look at those individual keywords, I'm on page 2 for slip and fall lawyer, Grain Valley MO. Then between page 2 and 3 for Camden County slip and fall attorney, Campbellsville slip and fall lawyer. And if we sort these by CPC, we can see how valuable this traffic is. So if you were targeting these search terms with Google Ads, you'd be paying around $30 per click. So every single click, and how many of those are actually going to convert? Loads of studies have shown that actually ranking organically gives you a much higher conversion rate than simply blasting money on paid ads, because people will often click the paid ad at the top and immediately click the back button because they don't really trust that incentivized paid listing compared to the amount of trust that Google has built with the top organic results. They tend to have a lot more faith in that. Now, before we go on, I offer you a wide range of unique insights, strategies, advice in my Ranking Revelations newsletter. So go to SEOJesus.com, click on Ranking Revelations, and then in that first welcome email, you'll get a load of great information, SOPs, sample chapters from my book, and other insights, as well as regular updates from my most cutting edge techniques that I can't post publicly on YouTube. And of course, if you do have a budget, then I encourage you to click on apply, and you can apply for our 100% done for you service. We do often get full, but if you apply, then you'll be in that waiting list. And if we think you're a good fit, you might well be in luck. And we can get you ranking on Google, save you all the time and effort and energy and wasted resources of trying to figure it out yourself when 2 years later and lots of money down, you realize you still haven't cracked it yet. We have our process, we have our results. We can give you the benefits of that insight from 10 years of collective experience. So that's exactly how we got this website ranking in no time. So over the next couple of months, I'm hoping to start investing more in this website and proving how far we can push these up onto page 1. Now, the basic framework around personal injury lawyer SEO is locations, types of injury, questions, and then semantic variations. This sounds complicated, but what I basically mean is you could be talking about lawyer and lawyers, so singular and plural, but also attorney and other similar words that mean the same thing. But to Google's just a machine. It's getting better at understanding the meaning of words, but quite often you do need to feed it the individual words. So if we just take an example, I would say locations for this kind of business are often your best bet. So if we have a look at, say, Pittsburgh personal injury lawyer, then we have the local pack at the top. This doesn't happen with every niche, but generally these kinds of location keywords do trigger a location pack somewhere on the page 1 of Google. And thankfully, this is actually quite easy to manipulate. It's basically based on citations, so getting you mentioned in local business directories, matching up your bricks and mortar address location so that all across the internet you've got this clear digital footprint that you are a real business and you're this business. That's how you can score on the map pack. We can also run what's called CTR manipulation, which is basically traffic and engagement that engages with your Google business profile. And of course, reviews are always helpful as well. And the good news is these types of practices tend to be not that competitive. We can see we've got 54 reviews here, 25 reviews here. So as long as you've got a reasonable flow of business, you should be able to get those reviews quite quickly. I do know people who sell these reviews using verified aged accounts. They've got lots of history, so they don't flag as suspicious. But over time, Google is getting better and better at cracking down on that. So it's not a guaranteed method. It's much better just to make sure as many of your customers as possible do leave a review. And you can work on whatever incentive you like to actually achieve that and just make it as easy as possible for them. Now, if we scroll down underneath, what we should be able to see is the kind of competition we're up against. So we're looking at domain rating, or DR, which is how powerful a website is based on its backlink profile. That's because when Google first started, it decided to sort all these documents based on relevance and keyword targeting. But if you have all these different websites all publishing the same documents targeting the same keywords, how does Google decide what goes higher up or not? And so the answer is backlinks. Just like academic scholarship, the more times you're referenced, then the better you are. And that's exactly the kind of process Google took into account and always has done. It just makes sense. That's not going away anytime soon. So domain rating is basically a measure of how powerful a website is. It's out of 100. It's also logarithmic. So to get from 0 to 10, very easy. To get from 60 to 70, much harder. That's the main thing we focus on in my agency. We focus on conducting outreach to secure high quality backlinks on good quality websites that are going to give you a traffic boost and rankings boost, as well as increasing your DR at the same time. DR is just a metric, but it's worth paying attention to, but we go deeper to make sure that improvement in DR is actually going to reflect in your revenue and sales. So this is a client who's been with me for a year. We've been building them 10 links per month from high quality websites, and we've got them up to a DR of 30. And that of course is reflected in their traffic, starting from 0 in October 2022. And now January 2024, they're up to 20,000 visitors per month. Compare that with this financial services client. Again, starting from 0, only just started with us in late last year. So domain rating of 0, occasionally going down to 1, around 1 or 2, but then we've now increased their backlink profile up to a DR of 6, so 31 referring domains, and as a result, their traffic has picked up considerably. So it's still early days, but they are getting 34 visitors per month, which is a massive improvement on 0. So I expect great things for this client over the next couple of months. So if we scroll down Pittsburgh Personal Injury Lawyers, and we could replace Pittsburgh with any location anywhere in the world and get an idea of volume, but also competition. And what we want to see is how competitive this search result actually is. So we've got domain rating of 88, 59, but then we have a DR of 30. And so rather than these big aggregator sites like superlawyers.com and findlaw.com, we now have just a local firm, Berger & Green, only a DR of 30, but they're getting 234 visitors per month. And this tool tends to underestimate that traffic as well, normally by about 20% to a third, so it's probably more like 300 visitors per month, and that traffic value is $10,500. So if they were getting that same traffic with Google Ads, it'd be costing them $10,500 per month. And again, with that lower conversion rate, and they've got to keep paying that over time. Whereas once you build this backlink profile and this content on the page targeting these keywords, you're going to be getting that 300 visitors per month for a very long time. If anything, you're probably going to grow it. The older websites in Google tend to perform better. So the sooner you publish, the sooner you start building backlinks, the more and more your results are going to grow over time. The average position of one result in Google is normally about 2 to 3 years old. So the sooner you hit publish, the sooner you're going to get that ultimate payoff. So Google values time in the market. And then the same again here, we've got a DR of 22 with site traffic 160, so probably more like 200. So this is really good news. People say personal injury law is a really competitive niche, but if you're an actual bricks and mortar business, there's no reason you can't be on page 1. We've got that client up to a DR of 30 in just 1 year, so we can see DR of 22, DR, that's enough to actually rank for Pittsburgh Personal Injury Lawyers, which has a total traffic potential of 1,000 searches per month. And remember, the conversion rate on these organic listings is going to be much higher than paid ads. So you really need to think of this in terms of digital real estate. If you claim these spots by building up your backlink profile and building up your content, then you have a real asset that's going to keep bringing you qualified leads for years to come. But when we talk about keywords, where is this traffic actually coming from? So if we have a look at the site's total keywords, this is where we find out if it's got more of a national presence or just a local presence. And if we go to top pages, we can see all the content they have published. So they're targeting all kinds of questions. Will I lose my disability if I work part-time? Maximum disability payment? Can I get social security and disability at the same time? So these are all searches people are putting into Google, and this volume column tells us how many times per month they do that. So will I lose my disability if I work part-time? 4,400 searches per month. How long to get a settlement check after signing release? 1,000 searches per month. So if we go back to our sort of keyword map, that goes into the questions area. So I always say that locations tends to have the biggest conversion rate and the lowest competition. So someone searching for Pittsburgh Personal Injury Lawyer and they get the result of Pittsburgh Personal Injury Lawyer, they're very likely to actually sign up. So normally a 20 to 30% conversion rate is quite likely there. Then we have types of injury and questions. That's kind of related to types of injury, but we're thinking car accident lawyers, Pittsburgh. So if we go back to a Pittsburgh specific one, like Pittsburgh Injury Lawyers, they're ranking for 365 keywords. Let's find out what they are. Then we have assault attorney Pittsburgh, 150 searches per month. Again, that's a type of injury. Motorcycle accident attorneys Pittsburgh. So you can see once you add all these up, you're getting to a significant volume. So yes, we want to rank for personal injury lawyer Pittsburgh, which gets 1,500 searches per month. And we know it's not that competitive because you only need a DR of 20 or 30 to rank for it. But then we'll also go and get Pittsburgh hit and run, motor vehicle accidents in Pittsburgh, assault attorney Pittsburgh, and then we can see they've gone on to questions like how much money can you sue for pain and suffering, construction lawyer Pittsburgh. So these, you can see here exactly the kind of groups we're talking about. So we want locations, types of injury, questions. Now questions can be at a more national level. Now, they tend to be higher volume, but less relevant to you. So if you're a bricks and mortar location in Pittsburgh and someone's searching in Los Angeles for personal injury lawyer related questions like, can I sue for this item? Then obviously they're not going to sign up with you. But what Google sees is that you've comprehensively covered all this content. So not only will you rank for anyone in your local area who happens to be searching for those terms, those questions, but also Google can see you've got loads of pages on this topic. And this is what we call topical authority. Basically, if you imagine you were Google, would you rather send traffic and give good rankings to a website that has got 4 pages on a topic or 400 pages on a topic? So even if a lot of these questions might not represent high ROI to you immediately, what they do is give you this overall topical authority, which means your individual pages like Pittsburgh Injury Lawyer, Motorcycle Accident Lawyer, Pittsburgh, those will rank higher because you've got all this supporting content that says, I am an expert in this field. And then very simple semantic variations. In this niche, obviously there's loads of different ways of saying the same thing. Dog bite lawyer, Pittsburgh, that's an interesting one for the types of injury. But you can see wrongful death attorney. So basically anywhere we've got lawyer, I'd probably be tempted to either optimize a page for or publish a separate page that's optimized for attorney rather than lawyer, just to help Google out. You can run into issues with overlapping content and duplication. It all depends on the individual case to work out which you should go for, if not both. So when we talk about targeting keywords and putting content on your website, what does this actually look like? So if we take, for example, hit and run, what Google generally rewards is long-form quality content that's comprehensive and addresses everything to do with that particular topic. So you see, this is quite a lengthy article. It's not that lengthy by any means. We've got internal links that help Google discover the site and see the relationships between different documents. But overall, not that difficult. So there's different ways of actually crafting your content in this way. Traditionally, we'd use tools like Yoast or Rank Math. These are basically tools that plug into WordPress, and they've basically got traffic lights at the bottom that say your article should be this long, include this keyword this many times. And that can work to an extent, but it's quite old-fashioned now. And what you'll find is each individual niche has got its own requirements. Each individual keyword, all your competitors will be doing slightly different things depending on the keyword. So what we do is we use what are called correlational tools. My favorite is called Surfer. What that allows us to do is analyze the top competitors for a particular search term and gives you a recipe to rank for that search term. So if I have a look at my personal injury lawyer website, and I have a look at my existing keywords, this has not been optimized with Surfer yet. So I want to find a really good opportunity. So Camden County slip and fall lawyer. So again, 60 searches per month, cost per click of $24, and we're at position 33 currently. And so we put this into Surfer. We can specify the location. So in this case, we want Camden, New Jersey. And we can create a content editor. And that will allow us to basically test our existing page that is ranking, see if it matches up with the precedents that our competitors have actually set in terms of word count, keywords to use, questions to ask. So I'm just going to copy all of this. Remember, this is just basic AI content, hasn't really had much optimization done to it. So now we open up the Surfer template and we get all these requirements. So different keywords to include, word count 1392 to 1600. If I click on the gear icon, I can see the competitors it's actually used, and it tells us the content score of those individual competitors. So if I now paste in our article, I can see how well the AI did. And actually it's not bad. So we've got 66 out of 100. The average is 66. The top result is 69. So AI content writers can still perform very well. But let's see if we can improve this. Surfer has its own insert terms feature where it will try and go through and add as many terms as possible. So we might be able to increase the score that way. But it's this level of optimization we actually need. Don't trust the fact that your website builder has got a few requirements at the bottom and says try and use the keyword 5 times and write 500 words. Loads of agencies will still say write 500 words and use the keyword a few times. It's much more granular than that. We want to include all these other keywords. So just by using that auto insertion feature, we've now got a content score of 83. So a significant improvement there with just 5 minutes of work. So this is the level of granularity we need. Medical expenses, use it 1 to 2 times. Property owner, 4 to 8 times. Personal injury claim, 2 to 4 times. Personal injury cases, 1 to 3 times. This is the level of precision we need, because this is how Google understands content. Google can't read an article and understand its meaning, but what it can tell is entities. What's the stuff, the items mentioned within the document, and it'll then convert those into numbers. Basically, Google, as a big complex machine working at great scale, all it can really do is look at what the page mentions, the individual entities, and work out the frequency of those entities to try and get an idea of how well tuned this article really is. So simple as that, 5 minutes of work to get this page up to 83. Most clients I work with, they'll have generally written a blog post 5 years ago using one of these tools, potentially, and they'll have written a good quality blog post, but it won't be optimized for these individual entities. So as soon as we rewrite that content with this level of optimization, that page has already got loads of trust and authority with Google. All it needed was a bit of tweaking, and then that traffic takes off, and will then match that with actually building links to that page to push it even higher. That's exactly what we did with this financial client. This is just one blog post on their site. So they've done the right thing, they've targeted a keyword and written a blog post about it. So number one, there was actually content on the page for Google to actually rank, but it wasn't really doing anything. It was getting some rankings, but not a lot. We then rewrote that page with Surfer and then built 10 high quality backlinks to that page. And what we found within a couple of months, that traffic just took off massively. So initially up to 52 visitors per month. Remember, this is an extremely high ticket niche with average policy sales being very high. So the actual value of that traffic was huge, often between $600 and $1,000 per. So this company was really just sitting on a gold mine where it just had unoptimized content. So we optimized the content, built some links. Suddenly Google loves it, and they were then making thousands every month organically through that blog post that had just been sitting there doing nothing. So you really do need to just give Google what it wants, and it's all about reverse engineering what's already worked. So just to recap, you want to find out what kind of backlink profile do you need in order to rank for your key terms. Often it's not that high, and then once you've worked out all those different topics to include, you then want to write optimized content for them, preferably using a correlational tool where you try and match the style of that content to the style of content that's already ranking. So the word length, the entities to include, subtopics, FAQs. If you do all of that, you're very likely to succeed.